I was violated, I was disrespected, and I was attacked by a pig with a superiority complex. Hello my sugar bingabungas, welcome to my channel. I know, it's been a minute, but it's 4:10 and boom! Indlu iyawa. So pressing matters ought to be addressed ASAP Rocky. You feel me? And with that said, I'd like to send a huge and very special shout out to Nolu. We appreciate your bravery and thank you so much for being a voice for the voiceless. Countless employees and people in general all over the world have experienced and are currently experiencing what you went through. It's never okay. It'll never be okay. Abuse is a huge no, and we are so sorry that you had to experience that. But I hope that wherever you are safe and sound, and I pray for your strength and healing. And I know that it's highly unlikely that you will be fully okay, because there's something about abuse that changes one forever. And it breaks my heart that in this day and age, in 2023, people are still going through such. And like I said, it's people all over the world. It is not unique to any country. So before the bummy people who rejoice at the downfalls and misfortunes of others start rejoicing, start celebrating, they need to realize that it's tough out there, especially when you're a person of color. Wherever you go, no matter where you are, no matter the profession that you're in, it will always be tough for us unless we take a stand and we fight and we do what's right. But it's very appalling seeing that there are people who celebrate and rejoice when such painful things happen to their fellow South Africans, making it seem as though things are much better at home. What do you even mean? You know good and well that ushubile, you know good and well that your country is in shambles, and you yourself would like to leave. You dream of leaving, but you just don't have the means. And that's why you are so angry. That's why you are so bitter, jealous, and envious of all the people who have made it out of that country, because you wish you were in their shoes. But you know you can't get there, and you'll never get there with that attitude, with that mentality, and with that dark heart. So shout out again to Nolu for inspiring me to share my story. So it was the 4th of January 2023. My husband and I made our way to Clicks in Kingsburg. We shopped and we had a nice jovial time. We were having the time of our lives. Music was popping in the store. We were chatting up a storm, you know. Festive vibes were still in the atmosphere, so all was well. And please take note that if I say something in vernac, I will repeat it in English, so I don't need to include subtitles because you're not missing out on anything. I promise you, I am aware of the fact that we are international. Therefore, I always accommodate all my subbies, all my sugar binger bungas. Oh, so we picked up a few items, and then when it was time to pay, we joined the queue. While in the queue, my husband and I, as per norm, being all lovey-dovey, reminiscing about the festivities that had gone on the previous night. And I'm feeling like, grrr, I'm feeling chummy because I'm feeling all lovey-dovey with my hubby, you know? And so I'm giggling, you know, as we chat as we're just being our happy selves. And I'm just like, right? Mind you, we are minding our business. Like I said, we are minding our lovey-dovey business. Then all of a sudden, this fossil turns to us and says, "What's so funny? What are you laughing at?" I had to look around and figure out who exactly this fossil was talking to, because ain't no way you're talking to me. Ain't no way you're talking to my husband. Because we were both laughing. We were both having a good time. So there's no way you're talking to either me or him or the both of us. You know? So at first I'm like, surely this fossil isn't talking to me with those dry, cracked lips. Surely. So I look at my husband and I'm like, Uyangzwisa, did you hear what I just heard? Are we like on the same page? No, am I dreaming? And he's just as shocked. He is just as confused as I am. Mind you, there were people behind us and there were people around us. Who be easy? It's busy because it's still Boma 4 Jan, right? So festive season vibes are ongoing. So everybody just stands in their tracks because it literally felt like the whole world stopped. Everybody stopped and stared. And at first I was like, if I react, things will turn ugly. Let me breathe for a second, because right now, at this very moment, my blood is seething and my heart is beating like an out of control drum. So let me ignore this fossil. That pissed her off even more. Mind you, we're talking about a woman who seems to be about 80 something, 90 something. Someone who should be peaceful, someone who should be minding their own business, but they had the gall, they had the gumption, they had the audacity to turn around and be in my space and breathe our air and mind our business and be agitated, aggravated, annoyed by our happiness. Do you hear what I'm saying? So while my husband and I are busy trying to process and digest what had happened, she repeats herself because she's that bold, with a whole lot more bass in her voice and a whole lot more aggression. She steps up to me, looks straight into my eyes, and she says, "I said, what are you laughing at? What's so funny? What's making you so happy?" Those are fighting words. She was feeling froggy. And deep down, I'm like, you feeling froggy? You want to jump? All right, let's jump. But at the end of the day, this is my elder. And remember, we are taught to respect all our elders, no matter what. Regardless of what they do to us, regardless of what they say to us, regardless of the fact that they have a tendency of disrespecting us. We are told to zip it and let it slide. We are told to forgive and forget. And I had come to a point in my life where I had said, nah, never again. I am unlearning those toxic teachings. I am relinquishing those oppressive teachings, because at the end of the day, I don't win. The abuser, the oppressor is the one that wins. And I die inside because I have been violated. I have been abused. I have been disrespected. And like I always say, everybody deserves common respect. But the minute they overstep boundaries, you treat them accordingly. So I say to her, "Excuse me, Karen, who do you think you're talking to? Who do you think you're talking to? What makes you think you have the right to look in my direction, to breathe my air, and to interfere in my business when I was simply minding my own? Why aren't you minding your own? What is it that bothers you so much about seeing a young black couple being all lovey-dovey and happy, being peaceful and unproblematic? What pushes you to start something with those people? And I already knew. I wanted her to answer what I already knew. It was a rhetorical question. It was a rhetorical question because I know it's that superiority complex. They have convinced themselves that they are better than us, that they were always better than us, and they will always be at the very top of the hierarchical ladder. So who are we to be in the same vicinity as them? Who are we to be free and happy while around them? And you know exactly who I'm talking about. She was a Vito, a racist Vito, a Karen, and she was having a Karen moment. And I said, you've got the right one. And you got me at the right time, because I am not letting this slide. I said to her, not today, Satan. Not today, wrinkled ass neck. Not today, cankles. You will not interrupt this beautiful moment simply because you're frustrated that the world no longer belongs to you. And she had the audacity to try and go back and forth with me. And I said, stop talking to me. Leave me alone. I have absolutely nothing to say to you. You shouldn't have spoken to me to begin with. And now you're angering me. And when I get angry, I'm going to seem like the mad black woman. So leave me alone. And she said, oh no, you're being nasty. I can see what you're doing. And I'm like, we're being nasty by being happy? So you're bothered. You're irked by the fact that my husband and I are standing behind you, minding our own business and being happy. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And the traitor who was busy helping her had the audacity, oh my goodness, yo, Sibiti Sacho, he had the balls to look me in the eye, the person who was attacked, the person who was racially profiled in the store that he works at. He had the balls to look me in the eye and say, not here. Stop it right now. Shh. Shh. If you want to do this, if you want to be barbaric, take it outside. If I want to be barbaric, so I'm the barbaric one. When in actual fact, I was the one who was attacked. But I'm the problem? Why? What is it? How did you reach that conclusion? Is it because of the color of my skin? Well, that's surprising. That's confusing. That's astonishing, considering the fact that I look just like you. And what blew my mind was the fact that this guy, aka traitor, seemed to be in our age group. He was definitely either a born free or a 2000. So it's someone whose mentality should be far ahead. So I was very shocked. I was flabbergasted to see him picking a side. And I always say, if you're going to pick a side, make sure it's the right one. But he chose the white one. Why? Because he too was indoctrinated. And he was taught that white is right, regardless of the facts staring him in the eye, regardless of the fact that he was a witness to this hate crime. He picked a side and he chose to protect this fossil, this old white racist fossil, and he called me out and he wanted to literally throw me out until people were like, hey, no. how dare you? We all saw what happened here. We all know exactly what it is that's taking place here. Instead of you being proud of this young lady standing up for herself and her husband, you're picking a side and you're picking the wrong one. My husband was infuriated. He was like, hey bo, elomchitu ya papa, manungazo papa, wanamchitu, upapiswa yini? Upapiswa yini? Ungenaphi? Uhlulekile. You failed to reprimand the person who attacked us. Yet you're ballsy enough to try and correct my wife who isn't in the wrong. And when I come at you man to man, it's going to seem like we're the ones who are barbaric. When in actual fact, we are the ones being victimized. Papi Swain, how dare you? Who do you think you are? And I remember there was a young man behind us, a young white man behind us, who was observing all of this as it was taking place in real time. And he was reacting accordingly. When it first popped off, he was as shocked and as surprised as we were. And then when that lady tried to actually fight me, physically fight me, he looked at her like, yuck. How dare you? You're disgusting, Grandma. Grandma Karen. Why would you do this? Why would you embarrass and humiliate us like this? There's an unspoken rule that kinfolk represent each other. And I saw in that moment that that guy was disgusted. That guy was appalled. And if he could, he really would have been like, yo, what the actual fuku? What are you doing? But I also understand that he wanted us to sort it out as women. And he hoped that we'd diffuse the situation before it escalated and got out of hand. So at first he was shocked. And then he giggled at my response when I was like, yo, Karen, you've got the right one. Don't you dare think you can do me like that. This is not the 1950s where you're just going to do as you please and get away with it. That shit doesn't fly with me. That shit doesn't fly with us. And he laughed and he was on some yes type of vibes. So when it escalated and it went from 50 to 1,000, he was disgusted with Grandma Karen. And so was everybody in there. Because they believed in what's right. In that moment, 99% of the people in that store united with us. Because they saw exactly what had happened and they picked the right side, except for this traitor. So the colleague of this traitor, let's call her Voice of Reason. Voice of Reason is like, Musupapa, Tula. Direct translation, stop being forward, shut up. You see exactly what's happening right here and right now. So why reprimand her when this old lady interfered with them and she's just standing up for herself? Oh my goodness, we were fuming. We were fuming. And part of me wanted to go woman to woman with this Oma, but I was like, Isobeli felend, you know? I'm gonna end her. And then what happens to me? It's over for me. Simply because I was violated. I was disrespected. And I was attacked by a pig with a superiority complex who can't wrap her head around the fact that it's over. Playtime for them is over. And it's time for equality. But when you're so used to getting everything handed to you on a silver platter, you become entitled. And the mere word equality has you quivering in your boots because you believe you deserve everything. You want it all to yourself, and thus you steal. You unalive people. You cheat. You partake in rapations. And you dehumanize other humans because you've convinced yourself that you're better than. You're at the very top of the totem pole. And they are just the scum of the earth. And another thing that added onto her frustrations, which she decided to take out on us, was the fact that her card kept declining. She was out of funds. Her bank account was empty. And she's not used to that. She's used to having it all. She's used to being the wealthy one, thanks to our hard work. And the fact that people were running around trying to sort her out and help her out while her card is just clearly declining showed that we have a long way to go. She's a broke bee, but you're still trying to figure out what the problem is. There's probably something wrong with our machine. Oh, let's help you out. Let's run around like headless chickens and make sure you're satisfied because of the color of your skin. And if you get frustrated by how humiliating it is to be seen as the broke bee that you actually are, you take it out on people who've done nothing to you. This is the crap that we put up with in our home country, in Africa, as black people. Yet people have the audacity to say, Yena aya queen, come back home, when unfortunate things happen to us overseas. When bad things happen to us in foreign countries, our fellow South Africans, our kinfolk, rejoice and celebrate and talk out the side of their necks, saying they don't want to come home, they don't want to come home. We keep telling them to come home, but they think they're better than us. We are. How about that? We are better than you. We made a conscious decision to get up off our butts and leave something that is broken, something that the people who are meant to be fixing are actually ruining deliberately. What are we going to fight for? What are we going to fix? You have the power to fix it. Abane, fix it, comrade. Fix it. Instead of being a Twitter warrior, since you're such a fighter, stop fighting with your fingers. Be the change you want to see. Actually put in the work and change the country. And stop spreading negativity. Stop spreading hate. Stop being so jealous and envious. What are you jealous of? Why are you so envious of people working and living abroad if home is so good? If home is so comfortable? You wouldn't be all up in their business. You wouldn't care what happens to them. In fact, if you were a decent person who was satisfied with their own lives, you'd be like, oh my goodness, this sucks. I pray everything works out for them. I wish them all the best, and you'd keep it pushing because you're comfortable, you're happy, you're satisfied, you're content, Mus. Content people don't have time to spew garbage. Happy people don't try to bring others down. Happy people don't project their failures and their insecurities onto others. You're a bum sitting at home, unemployed, because the unemployment rate is that high in that beautiful, comfortable country of yours that you want people to come back to. The unemployment rate is off the chains and in space. What are they coming home to? So they can end up being like you? So they can be miserable? So they can be witches like you? Who prey on the downfall of others doing better than you? Who remind you of what you'll never be. So my husband and I finally paid for our items. We got to our cashier and we asked for that traitor's name because we were not going to let that slide. Omar Karen felt our wrath, and it was time for him, because they were a team, it was time for him to feel it too. So we asked for his name. And that lady apologized and she was like, oh my goodness, we're so sorry this happened to you. You did not deserve that. We all saw what happened. Oh my goodness, what can we do? Oh, and we were like, This is not your fault. I get where you're coming from. You work here, so you're trying to make things right. It's not your fault. Don't apologize for him. He didn't see the need to apologize because he felt he was right the entire time. So, let's play. He wants to play. He's feeling froggy and he wants to jump. I love jumping. Let's go. Tell us his name. And she said, Kwanele Msomi. His name is Kwanele Msomi. And I still remember this name because I was so traumatized. I was so disappointed in my fellow brother picking the wrong side, not fighting for what's right, but simply being a house nigger, simply being a minion and allowing all these toxic and oppressive teachings to take over and overpower him. If someone that young thinks like that and behaves in that manner, we are doomed. This is in South Africa, in Africa. And I said, because you, Kwanele Msomi, are part of the problem, we're going to deal with you because we don't need this anymore. And so we took the necessary steps, we dealt with him, and we've never seen him ever since. And I know for a fact that he learned his lesson, and I am unapologetic about it, because how dare you, in 2023, perpetuate this nonsense? If you are still doing this, what are our future children going to do? Because this is what you're going to teach them. The fact that my niece, my 13-year-old niece, still cries to me and vents to me about how racist someone was to her, or a group of people was towards her. 13 years old. What's going to happen to our future children? Are we winning? Is that a country you would advise people to come back to? You want your fellow brothers and sisters to return to unemployment? You want them to return to potholes? My husband and I were in South Africa for 8 months, and the amount of money that we spent buying tires because of potholes. Ngisho emgaqweni ehloniphekile, imgwaqo imabhobobobo. In suburban areas, the roads are in shambles. We're changing tires, buying tires non-stop, spending money unnecessarily. Why aren't the roads being fixed? You wake up one morning, there's a teeny weeny hole in the road. The following day, it's become bigger, as if people are literally digging those holes. They're deep and gigantic at that. Our car almost flipped over. We're supposed to risk our lives and stay in a country where we could die at any given moment unnecessarily before our time has come. When people die in foreign countries, it's because their time has come. Not because they've been murdered, not because they've been unalived, not because they've been attacked, violated, rapation has taken place, not because someone put out a hit on them. That's foreign to us. We don't know that in foreign countries. We walk around showing our butt cheeks at 3 a.m. in the morning and nobody touches us because they know they'll suffer the consequences. And most importantly, because they are normal, sane human beings who understand that people can wear whatever they want to wear, exist in any space they want to exist in freely, without being touched inappropriately, without being catcalled. And if you ignore that catcall, your life is in danger. If you respond to it, your life is in danger still. There's no winning in that home that you want people to come back to. There's no winning. You could literally be unalived for simply saying, "Ngalungiyeka, please leave me alone. I'm not interested." For simply saying, "Hi." And when they ask for your number, "I'm sorry, I can't give it to you." Or for giving them the wrong number because you don't want to disappoint them. You don't want to give them your number because you're not interested in them. But in order to safeguard yourself, in order to protect yourself, you give them the wrong number, hoping that they'll take it and leave you alone. Hoping that they'll be satisfied with the fact that you entertained them even though you're not interested in them. And the moment they realize that it's not your number, there's a high likelihood that you may get unalived. We don't know that in foreign countries. We leave our phones, our purses, our belongings, our valuable belongings, anywhere, in the bathrooms, in clubs, on top of restaurant tables, in the office. You lose it in an Uber or a Didi, and someone brings it back to you because we're surrounded by decent people, not animals. And you want us to go back to a country where we never know what's going to happen to us. We never know whether we'll be able to go back home at the end of the night or even at the end of the day, because any and every time of day is dangerous and every place is dangerous. What are we coming back home to? Tell me. To water shortages. Amanzi ashayika ga. Ayahamba yabuya ngcoli yagcwala amachimba. You're paying for electricity and water. Most of the time, they're non-existent. And when the water starts running again, it comes back black, blue, brown, orange. And people are meant to drink that. People bathe in that. Hospitals are overcrowded because of that water. Abantu bayaqubuka. Abantu bayagula. Allergies, various illnesses and diseases, thanks to that water that you pay for. You're working your butt off to put food on the table. But the math is not mathing because everything is ridiculously expensive. Abantu bayaqwayiza. People are prostituting themselves. People are selling their bodies. And they have to lie and say they're influencing. And they have to lie and say they get this money from their loved ones, from their side hustles. Because it's embarrassing the extent to which people need to go in order to lead a normal life. The things they have to go through in order to survive. In that country that you so deeply want people who are working and living abroad to come back to. This is the reality. Prestigious professions pay peanuts. And the people working abroad are making 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, 50 times more than you. And it's pissing you off, as it should. But you're angry at the wrong people. It's your responsibility to get up and fight for yourself. And do whatever it is you need to do in order to get to that level and beyond. Not hate on them. You shouldn't be hating on them. They're not fighting with you. You shouldn't compete with them because there's no competition there. They've surpassed you. There are levels to this ish. Instead, you should be appreciating them because at the end of the day, they are paying it forward. They are making gang money, mad guap, and sending it back home to that country that you also love. Taking care of their loved ones, taking care of strangers in need, donating, building homes, churches, initiating outreach programs, heading NGOs, etc., etc. Just because we don't boast about it, just because we don't post it, doesn't mean it's not happening. We are paying it forward. We are playing our part. So I don't get where this anger is coming from, even though I partly do get it when it comes from bummy people who've been stuck in their homes, who've never even left their cities, let alone their provinces, and who've never even visited neighboring African countries. Your mind isn't broad enough for you to understand that these people are a representation of you and everybody who looks like you. And they're showing these people who think that we are less than, who think that we are primitive subhumans, that in actuality, the world needs us and it doesn't move without us. You see how they copy us. You see how badly they want to be us until it's time to actually be in our shoes when shit hits the fan. Because there's something about us. Sinotobo. We are anointed. We are gifted. We are powerful. But we're more powerful when we're united. The fact that you guys literally dig and try to find dirt on countries that are occupied by your fellow South Africans so you can talk smack about them and you can rejoice when something happens, be it natural disasters taking place in those countries, be it disheartening instances where people are violated. You rejoice, you get happy, you get excited that let them suffer just like us. We want them to be as miserable as we are, because how dare they live their best lives? How dare they live out our dreams? As if we don't share information with you guys. You don't even watch our videos when we tell you how to go about securing jobs abroad. Everybody thinks everybody's teaching abroad. There are so many opportunities abroad, so many different jobs available. Do your research, ask around, watch the videos that are actually spoon-feeding you information. The pie is huge and it's waiting for you to gobble it up, to devour it. Asnamona Tina, we're not jealous. Asiti Congo, we want you to be with us. We want you to be as happy as we are, and we are genuinely happy because we hear you say we're posting happy pictures, but actually next. As an adult, you know for a fact ukuthi life is tough. Life is tough, life is unpredictable, life gets tricky no matter where you are in the world. People get assaulted in many different ways in the workplace. People get harassed, violated, attacked, unalived. Where you are right now, and nothing is done about it. Your justice system fails you, and life goes on like nothing happened. A massacre could literally go down, and life will go on like nothing happened. We are foreign to that. We've never witnessed something like that in these foreign countries, in these foreign lands that we occupy. Because when something goes down, it is addressed. One way or the other, someone will suffer the consequences. Hence, these shocking occurrences are shocking to us because they hardly ever happen. Unolu ubene badi. She was very unfortunate. We're all shocked as people who've worked abroad, as people who are currently working and living abroad, even though my husband and I are no longer where you guys think we are, because we've made it a point to not divulge that information. Because the minute your loved ones, your friends, your family members, your neighbors, and even strangers, the minute they know where you are, they start digging up dirt. What's happening in that country? They become so invested, they forget about their own miserable lives, and they want to know what's happening where you are, so they can rejoice when something bad happens. And they get disgusted and disappointed when it's just good things. And there are people who think they know where we are, but that's what we want them to think. Because at the end of the day, we need to be smart and we need to protect ourselves. Not because we don't trust them, but because they could just innocently share that we're there. If we were to tell them where exactly we are, they might just innocently mention it in a conversation without any malicious intent. Next thing you know, our enemies are busy in their dark corners, in their shrines, preying on our downfall. Because that's how our people operate. You get happy when your fellow South Africans abroad pass away. Since they're making so much money and living it up, how come their families are struggling to bury them? Why do we now have to donate? Why do we now have to care? Weren't they the ones looking fancy, schmancy, and snazzy in pictures? Country hopping? Wining, dining, and 69ing at the finest restaurants? Why are you fighting? Why are you so angry? Since when did life become a competition? Why are you comparing yourself to other people? If you feel like they're living their best lives and they're making gang guap, ask how. And when we do give you this information, you don't do what you need to do in order to secure your dream job and in order to live your best life or to start that dream business of yours. We share information. I say godly information because, like I said, asnamona. We're not competing with anyone. We just want better for ourselves and for our kinfolk. You act like it's such a hoo-ha, such a foreign thing to donate to people who have been living their best lives and making a whole lot of moolah. You've been doing it in that country of yours where superstars, major celebrities who were balling out of control needed your assistance to stay alive, to survive, and to even get a proper burial. It happens. You know how exciting it is for us as black people to get a whole lot of money when we weren't previously exposed to it. So sometimes people get reckless. They get irresponsible. And they don't save. They forget to ensure that their loved ones will be taken care of when they leave this world. They forget that one day they will take their last breath and they will need funds to get buried properly because they're just basking in that moment and they're enjoying all that money. It happens. Human beings are flawed. They make those mistakes. It's not because there wasn't any money to begin with and people were just faking and trying to flex on other people. We don't think about you. Nobody's trying to flex on anyone. Life is really good. Like literally, life is really good. And it sucks that we have to only post bits and pieces of our lives or hide a whole lot of good things that happen to us simply because you feel like you're being attacked. Simply because you feel like people are flexing on you. You're so self-centered. It's not about you. We're just living life. We're just doing the best that we can. And like I said, we're actually paying it forward. What are you doing? When people die, it's because their time to die has actually come. Not because they're killing us in these foreign countries. How baya tanga benziwani? Babuya sebefuna ukuthi bangcwatshwe yithina kanti ible mali abahlezi bebeuza ngayo ukuthi isimangaliso. Izumbulu zeimali abayiholayo. Bayihola vele. People make a lot of money and sometimes they don't know what to do with it. And a lot of people who are working and living abroad are young. So they go ham. Forgive them. Mistakes do happen, but they're not fighting with you. Ekteneni, we're all human beings and we're all interconnected. And when shit hits the fan, the very same way we're the ones taking care of people when shit hits the fan in their lives, we expect our people to make sure that we're good. Because we're the first people they run to. We're the first people you run to when things are tekering, when you're going through the most. But we're not allowed. We're not allowed to be human beings and to need help simply because we were blessed enough to be able to move because we're not trees. We used our brains and we realized that we're not trees and we refused to be held back by anything or anyone. That's why we didn't rush to have babies. That's why we didn't rush to be tied down to nonsense people and nonsense partners, crappy partners who don't want us to spread our wings and broaden our horizons. So why are you mad? I need you to do some self-introspection. Look deep within yourself and ask yourself, what is it that triggers you so much about people working and living abroad when you're okay in your country? And we both know the answer. You're not okay. You wish you were living their lives. And it goes to show that when people feel like something is unattainable, they pretend not to like it, not to want it, not to care about it. For example, degrees, marriage. People act like they don't want all those things when they know deep down in their hearts of hearts that they pray for them. They fast for these things. But because they're struggling to get them, or because they've failed to get them, or because they can't afford to get them, they hate on those who've acquired those things. And it's so unfair. Are you mad that people are seeing parts of the world that you don't even know exist? Or are you mad that you've never been outside of your country? And Angilwi, I'm not fighting, because there are good people. There are beautiful people with hearts of gold who keep it 100 with us, who are like, yo, go. There's nothing here. We're stuck because of A, B, C, and D. But because you can, because you afford to, because there's nothing tying you down and holding you back, go. We wish we were in your shoes. We've never ever met in real life. We've never met anyone who said, ooh, I don't ever want to go to a foreign country. I don't ever want to work or live abroad. Everybody that we know and those we don't know who inbox us, asking us, how did you do it? Help me. I'm struggling. Can I please work for you? I'll be your maid even. Whatever you want me to be. Bozayam, Hrutmanlami, licking our asses, bowing down at our feet. Yet those very same people are very ballsy on the internet and they act like, oh, all is well. Foreign countries suck. They're seeing flames over there. I'd never want to go there. You're lying. You're jealous. You're envious. And we know, we sympathize with you. We know how you feel. And we decided to do something about it because we've been in your shoes where we felt like, this is not making sense. So you could do the same. Instead of focusing your energy on improving yourself and reaching your goals, you'd rather hate. You'd rather be a witch. But at the end of the day, you know good and well that so long as you are, no matter where you are, there will be challenges. There will be obstacles. There will be things that happen to you that shock you. But I'll leave you with this. With everything that we go through abroad, none of it compares to the BS, to the trauma that we experience, that we sustain at home. So don't be that bad kid at the beach who's busy throwing sand in everyone's hair and eyes, but who then wonders why nobody wants to come and play at the beach with them. Nobody wants to be surrounded by witches. Even if we were to decide to come back home for whatever reason, we don't want to be surrounded by people who are witches. We don't want to be surrounded by people who are so negative. You, our people, are part of the reason we don't want to come back home. There's nothing we can't face. There's nothing we can't overcome. I mean, we're ballsy, we're strong enough to single-handedly move abroad and start a completely different life in countries that seem like a whole different planet. Surely we can endure and we can overcome anything and everything. But we don't want to rub shoulders with you. We don't want to be surrounded by people with black hearts and dark souls. And we've helped so many people. We know it's difficult to make that final decision where you're like, I'm leaving everything I know and love and I'm starting over. But trust me, you'll be able to start over. You will win. You will find love. Real love. You will learn what real love is. Because you will no longer be surrounded by people who think cheating is normal. Abuse is okay. You will meet the right people. People who were tailor-made for you. You will start your own family, your own traditions. There's no need to die in the same country you were born in. I don't know who taught you this, but it's okay to want to spread your wings, to want to broaden your horizons, to want to literally relocate and live elsewhere for the rest of your life, have a family there and die there. Some of us don't want to die in your country. Some of us don't want to die where we were born. We're okay with setting new trends and starting new traditions. We want that. So there's no need for you to be angry that you're not brave enough to do what we're doing. And there are those who found the courage to. As taxing as it was, as emotionally taxing as it was, it's highly demanding to move from one country to another. It's expensive. It's time consuming. It takes a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of dedication, blood, sweat, and tears. Literally, it's a lot. But it's a huge achievement once you get it done. Because I know you want to get it done, but you're struggling. And I'm helping you. I'm motivating you right now. I'm encouraging you. Because we all want everybody to get a piece of the pie. But we have to be on the same page, guys. We have to be on the same page. There's this very dangerous pull them down syndrome that our people possess. Even when they reach their goals and they find other people who look like them, they want to bring them down. They want to sabotage them. And they want to be the ones on top, forgetting that we can all be on top. There's a lot of space. And with that said, I really need us to look deep within ourselves. Like I said, do some heavy self-introspection and figure out what it is about you that makes you so angry, that triggers you when other people are happy and living out their dreams. What can you do to change it? Because if you don't change it, you will remain stagnant. If you're lucky. But you will continue to go down. Your situation will continue to worsen. Everything linked to you will deteriorate. Because your heart, your soul, everything about you, every fiber of your being is dark. You are jealous. You are envious. You invest your time, your effort, your energy in things you have no business investing in other things except yourself and your life. Because you hating on others, doing better than you, and preying on their downfall will not make the Lord stop blessing them. So you better check yourself before you wreck yourself.